Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Cindy's place. After Cindy pulled Ye Li inside, she made sure to carefully shut the metal door, then she secured it with a heavy-duty will lock. They say girls who are insecure need affection, a gentle touch, a hug. Ye Li started spouting nonsense again. Okay, Professor, enough, Cindy said, pulling him down to sit. This is serious. Then, she began to explain about the Morlun family. The Morluns can pop up in any universe and hunt down anyone with animal totem powers, like Spider-Man or Black Panther. They can sever the connection between humans and their animal totems, turning those people into powerless nobodies, which makes them a huge threat to spider totem folks. Once you're an ordinary person, how can you even fight back? So, Cindy's concern wasn't just paranoia, but Ye Li seemed to be only half listening. Have the Morluns shown up? Cindy hesitated. Not yet, but they will, sooner or later. We have to be ready. Then don't sweat it too much. Ye Li tried to reassure her. Don't hide away before the enemy even gets here. Cindy started tugging at her hair again. So what am I supposed to do? Ye Li said, eat well, drink well, sleep well. Oh, and speaking of important things. Cindy looked at him, puzzled. What? Ye Li said, you dragged me over here before I could finish lunch. Oh. I'm so sorry, I totally forgot. Cindy said, realizing she was hungry too. She jumped up. Hold on, I'll make something. She noticed Ye Li was still clutching her clothes. She hurried back over. Gimme my clothes. Living alone, Cindy had gotten pretty good in the kitchen. She whipped up a decent lunch. After finding out Ye Li had Chinese heritage, she dug out some tomatoes and eggs from the fridge and made a simple tomato egg drop soup. Ye Li felt pretty lucky. The girls he'd met weren't just beautiful, they were also thoughtful. Gwen was a given. She was upbeat, kind-hearted, and head over heels for him. She'd been playing various games before even getting to first base. Jessica, even though she was a bit of a troublemaker sometimes, always made the meals at home, never complaining. She looked after him as much as he looked after her. And even though he and Skye hadn't known each other long, she'd been his caring assistant lately, and the crazy thing was, they all thought he was just a normal guy with no special powers. Okay, money didn't count. Compared to Tony Stark, Ye Li wasn't exactly rolling in dough, so, who says you need superpowers to score with girls in the Marvel Universe? What's on your mind? Cindy, who was eating lunch with Ye Li, cut in. Don't get any crazy ideas. You can leave this afternoon, I'm not putting you up for the night. You were the one who dragged me here, remember? Ye Li shamelessly scooted his chair closer to Cindy. Cindy, do you have the wrong impression of me? I'm a gentleman. Stay away from me. Cindy quickly moved away, afraid of that weird attraction kicking in again. I can't help it. Alright. Ye Li stopped teasing her and got down to business. How did you find out about the Morluns? Spider sense. My spider sense told me. Cindy said, seriously. Apparently, the abilities of all spider totem folks came from the Great Weaver. As the chosen central weaver of the spider web, the bride, Cindy's spider sense was the strongest of all spider totem people. Information about different spider totems in parallel universes was occasionally sent to her at the center through the spider web. Because of that, Cindy's spider sense could even catch glimpses of the future. That's awesome, Ye Li said, offering her some peanuts. Can you predict how many girlfriends I'll have in the future? Cough. Cindy almost choked on her soup and said, speechless, I can't just predict that on command. And, Professor, I feel like I have to remind you that the United States is a monogamous country. What's that got to do with me? Ye Li took a sip of the fruity beer Cindy had given him and said confidently, I'm definitely going to break out of this universe someday. Cindy pushed some peanuts toward him. Don't just drink, eat something. You don't have to keep calling me Professor, Cindy. I only gave you one lesson. Just call me Ye. Ye Li used the chance to get a little closer. Skye called her Professor because it was her thing, but Cindy, who he'd just met, calling him Professor felt weird. Okay, Yi. Cindy took the chance to ask curiously, so, Yi, as a spider totem person, do you have any special abilities? That it seemed this was the first time he'd be showing his powers to someone else. What kind of abilities should he show? Say he was actually a painting spider, and his special ability was painting? Cindy would definitely be pissed, since they'd told him so many secrets. He thought for a moment. Yi Li remembered the absorption and wall climbing ability he'd never used. The principle behind it was strong static electricity. He raised a hand, a blue arc crackled from his palm, lightning danced at his fingertips. With his weather control powers growing, Yi Li could now shoot electricity from his hands like Miles, the young black Spider-Man. And a lot more powerfully. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under Yi Li's control, the electric current shifted, and a faint, beautiful blue flower materialized. He held out his palm to Cindy with a smile. For the lovely Cindy. So, your special ability is electric discharge. That's seriously cool, but... Cindy reached out with her slender fingers, then hesitated. I'm afraid of getting shocked. Don't worry, it's a very mild current. Yi Li could regulate the intensity. When you touch this electric flower, you'll only feel a tingle. Okay. Cindy, for some reason, completely trusted Yi Li. She tentatively touched the current with her fingertip and, sure enough, felt only a slight buzz. Emboldened, she placed all 5 fingers on it. Aha! That her knees went weak, and a soft moan escaped her lips. This, actually feels kinda good. The tingling spread through her body, making her feel incredibly relaxed. Cindy wanted more, so she grasped Yi Li's palm and intertwined her fingers with his. Skin contact triggered a deeper connection. The double stimulation sent a wave of pleasure through her, momentarily blanking her mind. Like a buzzing overload, it felt amazing, so comforting. In that moment, all her worries melted away. The Morlan family, the afternoon classes she was supposed to attend, she didn't want to think about any of it. I don't want to stop. Forehead. Yi Li glanced at her hand gripping his. Asterisk. Had Cindy unlocked some weird new kink? Maybe I could open up an electrotherapy clinic later on. Cindy looked like she was game for anything. Yi Li resisted the urge to take advantage. Instead, he pulled her close, wrapping one arm tightly around her and the other around her waist. His palm roamed across her lower stomach, sometimes drifting higher, sometimes lower. They kissed and touched for a while. Well, maybe that was a little wrong too. But, it was better than dragging her straight to the bedroom. When Yi Li finally stopped the electric flow, Cindy's skin was flushed. The dress she'd just put on was a wrinkled mess. She looked up at him with big, watery eyes, still reluctant to let go. I think I'm addicted to you. Super Spider Sense loaded. Is the newly added Stinger Hidden Blade part of the Night Spider suit a reward for becoming a Cindy connector? Yi Li ignored the system notification for the moment, keeping his hands on Cindy before she fully recovered. At the same time, he suggested, if you're worried about Morlan, why not join the Ghost Spider Club? There are plenty of people, and you'd have backup. Okay, whatever you say. Cindy, still dazed, agreed without thinking, then blushed and snuggled closer. They kissed passionately for a few more minutes. When Cindy regained her senses, she relaxed a little. She unwound her hand from his, absently hooking an arm around his shoulder as she stood. Aha! That she realized he'd given her but a playful squeeze right before she stood up, and she couldn't help but moan. Then her phone buzzed. Yi Li checked the message. Jessica, bro, don't get too carried away. Remember to come home for dinner. This was followed by a message from Gwen, don't eat street meat. Then Skye chimed in, I covered for you and told Gwen and the others you were hanging out. You owe me. I guess. Cindy saw him checking his phone and guessed what was up. You have to go now, right? If you want me to stay the night, I won't argue. Yi Li teased, then added, by the way, you were a little distracted today and will probably miss class. I have some connections at school, so don't worry about losing credit. Okay. Remember to think about me. Cindy could care less about class, she was only thinking about Yi Li. I will, my sweet Cindy. Yi Li said goodbye to Cindy. Whenever you want to join the Ghost Spider Club, let me know. I'm out. I'll think about it. Cindy peeked out from behind the door. And remember what I said. Watch out for Morlun and his family. Got it. The next day, at the Ghost Spider Club meeting. Whoa, bro, you had a wild night yesterday. I wanted to head out to play, but you were MIA all day. Jessica looked at Yi Li suspiciously. I heard someone at school say you were being chased by 3 girls. Gwen winked at Yi Li from the side, adding with a grin, some people said it was 30, Gwen's the best. Yi Li knew she was exaggerating to help him out. See, Jessica. The rumors are getting totally out of hand. Don't believe everything you hear. Whatever. Seeing that Gwen was so unsatisfied, Jessica ignored the matter and said instead, you said the welcome gift for Ghost Spider was ready. Can you get in touch with her? Yi Li suppressed a smile and glanced at Gwen. Of course. Let her know I'm waiting here. Yi Li had already brought over a set of improved web shooters Tony had prepared. He could almost see Gwen, Ghost Spider. Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Agent Morse, after this long investigation yielded such obvious conclusions, I question your abilities. Hill, don't use that tone with me. Barbara snapped over the communicator, seriously. Do you have any idea what it's like to be hunted and zapped by lightning? No, you don't. I'm about to lose it. Hill, so, you're saying Skye has developed lightning control abilities? Barbara, very likely. Okay, let's table that for now. The lizard is back, this time at Midtown High. You're one of the closest agents. If you can, go check it out, gather some intel. Barbara, not happening. I'm already undercover at the club. Then, good luck with your investigation. Hill didn't press it and ended the call. S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't going to waste resources on a small-time thing like the lizard in New York City. Alright, I'm finally sneaking into this club, I'm bound to find something. Barbara pulled out a compact mirror, checked her disguise, looking like a student. She gave herself a pep talk. You got this, Barbara. Hello. Anyone here? Hearing the soft female voice from outside, little Ned's eyes lit up. He hurried to the door, threw it open, and peeked out. He saw a girl smiling at him. She was wearing trendy sportswear, her long blonde hair in pigtails, a white baseball cap cocked on her head. She looked young and cute. Well, hello there, beautiful lady. Ned swung the door wide, eager to please. Of course, we're here. What can I do for you? Thinking of joining the club. Barbara didn't reveal her purpose yet. First, she asked, is Jessica Yi here? You're a horsewoman fan. Ned scratched his head, looking embarrassed. That's bad timing. She just left with Gwen. Oh, really? Barbara thought for a second. What about Mr. Yi Li and Ms. Corey Sutter Skye? Are they around? Yeah, they're here. Ned pointed inside, afraid the beautiful new girl would leave. See, right there. Barbara followed his gesture and looked. Yi Li slammed 2 cards on the table, 2 of clubs. Skye, looking at her bad hand, frowned. Pass. This can't be right. With her hacker-level processing power, how could she keep losing to Li at cards? Yi Li grinned. His super spider sense was working great. He was winning every hand. If he had time, he'd hit Vegas. Full house. Straight. Royal flush. Under Yi Li's relentless attack, the poor farmers, Skye and Mary Jane, were getting crushed by the evil landlord. Damn it. Skye looked at her meager hand and felt her pride take a beating. She conferred with Mary Jane. MJ, we can't let Li get landlord. We're doomed. Well, if you can't beat M, join M. If she teamed up with Yi Li, at least she could coast. Yi Li quickly adjusted his poker face and pointed at his cheek. Go ahead, I'll admit defeat. Mary Jane smiled. She leaned over and gave Yi Li a quick peck on the cheek. She and Yi Li didn't have that kind of vibe, but in the US, this can just be polite, and it's no big deal, just adding a little spice to the game, and neither one cared. But when it was Skye's turn, as she was about to kiss Ye Li's other cheek, Ye Li pointed to his mouth. "Kiss me here, Skye." Why?" Skye paused. Ye Li winked. "Because you're special." "Ha, getting cocky now that Gwen and Jessica are gone." Skye said it, but she was flattered. She leaned in and kissed Ye Li gently on the lips. Ned, watching nearby, let out a groan. Sour grapes, he wanted to play that kind of game too. Too bad nobody wanted to play with him. Peter. Oh, he couldn't even picture it. Speaking of which, where was Peter? Like Harry, he was MIA. There's a lizard on the loose at school according to the news. Hope he wasn't there. Ned worried about his best friend. Barbara walked over to Ye Li and said with a smile, "Hi, can I join this game?" Here was her chance to get close. Just a poker game, right? With her spy background, she already got the gist of it after watching for a few minutes, and she was confident she could beat Ye Li. Ye Li glanced at her. Well, if it wasn't Barbara. Looking a lot younger than he remembered. "If you're a beautiful woman, you're always welcome." Ye Li said without hesitation. 4 people could play landlord. 2, cut to 20 minutes earlier, Midtown High School, in the woods, a green shape blended perfectly with the bushes, its pale yellow, vertical pupils shone with a cold light. Thompson. Show me where you're hiding. Chapter 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thompson, that was an awesome play, Liz gushed. Thompson had just finished a football game, and the envious look she got from the other girls made her feel like a queen. Sure, she wasn't exactly Jessica, the Wonder Woman who'd skyrocketed to fame after acing it in that big school competition. Nor could she hold a candle to Gwen, the brainy, beautiful police chief's daughter. Even Mary Jane and the girls in the school band were riding higher than her after that party gig, but so what? As the girlfriend of Lightning Thompson, she felt she had the upper hand over most of the girls. Thanks, Liz. Thompson flexed his bicep with a grin. Few ordinary-looking girls in the distance squealed. Thompson, I'm in love. Ditch Liz and go out with me. Liz ate it up. She made a show of being close to Thompson to get more attention. Thompson didn't seem particularly moved by her clinginess. He pulled her into his arms and asked, playing the tough guy, "So, Liz, who's your mister right now, huh? Me or that Parker kid?" "You, of course." "You're the only one," Liz said quickly, seeing he was still a little touchy. "What I said before was just to get a rise out of you. I wouldn't be caught dead with a dork like Peter Parker." "Ha! That's what I thought," Thompson said smugly. "Like Peter could ever compare to me." Just then, the girls who'd been cheering Thompson on let out even louder, more terrified screams. It set off a panic across the field. Lizard. A giant lizard. Monster. What is that thing? Lizard man. It's the lizard man. Thanks to Jessica's rep, the stories about the lizard man she'd fought had spread around school. People recognized him instantly. It's the lizard man. The one Jessica beat. Oh my God. Thompson, watch out, a football player shouted, he's coming right at you. Lizard man. Thompson froze for a second, seeing the big green monster charging toward him. But he stood his ground. He was a superhero fan, too. He'd always secretly wanted to be one, and he admired Jessica. They hadn't been exactly friendly before, and now the Wonder Woman seemed even more out of his league, but he wasn't about to chicken out now. People were already filming on their phones. He couldn't let his girlfriend see him get embarrassed. But Liz, seeing the lizard man bearing down on them, crumpled to the ground, paralyzed with fear. Peter looked at the couple in front of him. It felt good, not like a human, and grinned widely. Don't eat me. Please don't eat me. The lizard man opened his huge mouth full of sharp teeth and slime. Liz was so terrified, she wet herself. She became incontinent on the spot and screamed, "Where's Jessica? Where's Spider-Man? Help me." Seeing his girlfriend's lack of composure, Thompson gritted his teeth and stammered, If he comes, he'll get a fist." His voice trembled and he couldn't finish the sentence. Heh heh heh. The more Thompson freaked out, the happier Peter became. He curled his tail around Liz, lifted her into the air, then, he shoved the tip of his tail into her mouth, gagging her to keep her from screaming. MMH. Liz was choking, gasping for air. Peter turned to Thompson. Okay, tough guy, here are your options. 1. I kill you. 2. I kill your girlfriend. His voice was completely different now, raspy and guttural. Thompson had no idea the lizard man was actually Peter Parker, his classmate and the guy he looked down on. He hesitated. I choose you. Thompson lunged. He punched Peter in the gut. He'd finally overcome his fear, his athlete's reflexes kicked in, and he threw everything he had into the punch. But, Thompson's muscles were impressive for an average guy, but Peter's tough scales made the punch feel like nothing. Even a mosquito bite would have been worse. Is that all you got? Lightning used to knock him out with one punch. Now he couldn't even scratch him. Peter grabbed Thompson's throat with his claw and lifted him off the ground. Think I was kidding? Guess you've made your choice. No. Choking, gasping for air, Thompson watched as the lizard man easily crushed his football pads. Finally, the threat of death sunk in. His feelings for Liz weren't exactly that deep. Anyway, he decided to save his own skin. I choose 2. I choose the second one. Chapter 35. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Heh heh heh. Peter released Thompson's neck, grabbing his shoulders and hoisting him up. Say it. Tell me your choice. Or I'll rip your throat out. Thompson, on the verge of breaking, blurted out, Don't kill me. Let Liz die. That bitch never liked me anyway, she just likes my money. I'm not dying for her. Ugh, cough. Hack. The lizard's tail was yanked from Liz's mouth. After a fit of coughing, she screamed, Thompson, you selfish bastard. Why don't you die for me? The two turned on each other, a perfect snapshot of human nature at its ugliest. Some of the onlookers, who already disliked them, even hurled insults. The women were the loudest, screaming at Thompson and Liz like they'd committed some unspeakable crime. Peter, seeing his humiliation plan unfold flawlessly, was thrilled. He gagged Liz again and shoved Thompson to the ground. Perfect. Just perfect. Now, Thompson, lie down and bark like a dog for me. What? Thompson couldn't believe his ears and started to get up. I did what you said. How can you? Peter slammed his foot on Thompson's back, grinding him into the grass. You don't have a choice. This is an order, snap, star. A figure landed on the roof of the school building, uniform, white top and black bottoms, lavender ballet shoes, purple-pink hood lining, one hand braced on the ground, right knee bent, one slender leg extended, classic Spider-Man landing pose. It was Gwen. Lizard people at school. Gwen stood, using her vantage point to scan the grounds. She quickly spotted the commotion on the football field. Over there, she fired a web line at the rooftop, swinging gracefully across. Thwip, thwip, thwip. The ghost spider appeared in mid-air above the football field. The sight below surprised her. Woof woof woof. She saw Flash Thompson, the same guy who always bullied Peter, lying on the ground, barking at the lizard man. What was that about? Did he think lizards were scared of dogs? Lee always said he needed to read more. He was right. Then she noticed something else. Liz was wrapped in the lizard man's tail, the thick tip shoved down her throat. Seeing that, Gwen remembered playing with Ye Li, and her hand instinctively touched her neck, feeling that she could feel the same. This must be awful, but with her and Li. It was kind of hot. Liz probably just felt pain. It's the ghost spider. While Gwen was lost in thought, the people below saw her and cheered. Spider-Man's here. We're saved. Long live the ghost spider. Kick that lizard man's butt. Spider-Man. Peter didn't recognize Gwen, and vice versa. He was also afraid of the ghost spider and didn't want to fight her here, so, Peter yanked Liz off his tail and shoved her back to Thompson, making his escape. Thompson, see? You're the loser. Woof, woof, you're a. Thompson, still barking like a dog, choked on the words as his eyes widened. You're that, arg, that before he could finish, Peter knocked him unconscious with a swipe of his tail. Peter wouldn't kill Thompson. He wanted him to live with the humiliation of being laughed at. By then, the ghost spider had landed, and Peter was already gone from the field. He ran, that as soon as Gwen's feet hit the grass, she saw the lizard man scrambling away on all fours. She rushed to check on Thompson and Liz. They were both breathing, seemed like they hadn't been seriously hurt. She breathed a sigh of relief. Well, no one's dead. Someone call my dad, tell him to clean this mess up. Spider-Man. Ghost Spider. Cheers erupted from the crowd. Spider-Man rocks. The lizard man ran the second he saw her. Ghost Spider, can I have your autograph? Wow, you figured out how to do that fast. Jessica, arriving late, landed on the field. She could now do it. After jumping up, she floated in the air for a while. But compared to Gwen, she was still a little slower. Nah, it ran off on its own, Gwen told Jessica. Jess, I have a feeling this lizard man might be different from the one you fought last time. Not the same one. Jessica picked up on her implication. Just a hunch. Gwen remembered the lizard man looking back at her. She had seen a pair of yellow vertical pupils, and last time, it had green eyes. Club. 3 twos. Straight. 3 of a kind. 4 of a kind with 2 singles. Barbara stared at the cards Ye Li had just laid down, dumbfounded. Did he cheat? He had to have cheated, right? Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ms. Morse. Ye Li, put the cards away again. Tell me your real name. What do you mean? Barbara's heart skipped a beat, but she said calmly, my name is Hill Morse. It's my grandmother's name. Ye Li was speechless. She knows you used that name to fake it. You must have a personal grudge. This was the bet we made. The loser answers a question honestly. You brought it up, Ms. Morse. Ye Li straightened his sleeves, which had gotten a bit wrinkled. Since you're not willing to hold up your end of the deal, the game's over. Barbara was confused. Damn it, what is going on? Even a pro psychiatrist shouldn't be able to see through my disguise. Why do I feel like this guy is reading me like a book? Barbara didn't know. It wasn't just that Ye Li recognized her. His enhanced super spider sense has a built-in lie detector of sorts. If you add in the accidental electrotherapy he used at Cindy's place, Ye Li felt like he might have a future as a top therapist. All right. Agent Barbara's instincts told her she had to make a choice. My real name is Barbara Morse. Since he's already on to the name, just give him the real one. No point in being stubborn. Yeah, there's a risk of blowing the mission, but if I phrase it right, it could actually help build trust. And even if the mission fails, so what? S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't some cold-blooded outfit that kills you if you screw up, but what happened next was beyond her expectations. When she gave him her real name, Ye Li didn't press her about why she'd been hiding it. Instead, he just nodded. Very good. You said you wanted to join the club. Welcome aboard. Even if Barbara Mockingbird is gone, another Black Widow might show up next time, so Ye Li agreed to let Barbara join, figuring he could train this S.H.I.E.L.D. agent down the line. Oh. Major news. Ned shouted now. Breaking news from the forum, Flash Thompson just got humiliated by a lizard man. As Peter's best friend, Ned was practically doing a victory dance at Thompson's misfortune. Ye Li made a few gestures, and the forum content popped up on the club's big screen, tons of newly uploaded videos from every angle, showing Thompson's embarrassing situation in crystal clear detail. Gotta say, New Yorkers are total rubberneckers. They'll live stream anything, even a lizard man attack. Below were all kinds of comments, mostly from Midtown High students, who had the inside scoop. Passerby, I can't believe how chicken Thompson is. A big dude like that, lying on the ground barking like a dog. Rugby fan, yelling for the lizard man to kill his girlfriend. What a wimp. And I used to have a crush on him. Spider-Man fans, Ghost Spider to the rescue. Lizard Man ran scared. Who says the female knight is better than Ghost Spider? Step up and say it. Liz, that lizard man's tail was all over you. You're such a skank. This comment was probably from a classmate with a grudge against Liz. When Ned saw that comment, he grinned like an idiot, grabbed the remote from the bar, and cut to that part of the video. It showed the lizard man's tail being pulled out of Liz's throat, complete with extra spicy inside toy. A bunch of the girls watching winced. Barbara raised an eyebrow. Clearly, she'd seen a thing or two. Ned clicked his tongue. What a waste, what a waste. Liz just got defiled by the lizard man's tail. Mary Jane frowned. Ned, please don't keep replaying that. Come on, think about the club's image. Then, Skye couldn't help but sidle up to Ye Li. Ye Li took the opportunity to put his hand on her shoulder, slowly caressing her smooth neck, and whispered softly, "Wanna try it?" Gwen was already a pro. He hadn't tried Skye yet. Judging by how passionately she kissed, it should be amazing. Skye looked up at him, a little hesitant. But Ye Li looked totally expectant. After a moment's pause, she licked her lips and said in a tiny voice, "Maybe." Ye Li saw the glint in her eyes and the way her tongue flicked out. She was hooked. He pulled her up and said to the others, "I'm gonna take Skye to the training ground for a bit. Got some business to handle. Jane, keep Barbara company. I think she has the potential to be a great leader for the club." Mary Jane smiled and winked. "Oh, I get it. Leave it to me. You and Skye have fun at work." Ned got all excited and ran over. "Oh. The vice president's gone. Let's play, Jane." "Hee hee, I'm a poker shark." Mary Jane kept smiling. "Get lost." She was still holding a grudge from when Ned yelled at her over a broken cell phone, so there was no way she was going to put up with him. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Barbara watched Ye Li and Skye leave, lost in thought. Daisy Johnson, the agent with extraordinary potential recognized by the organization, and Ye Li, the female knight's brother, suspected of having a knack for psychology, seemed like they were after the anxious young man. Could that be the angle to work? Barbara debated whether to use her looks to get closer to Ye Li. Despite his impressive resume and appearance, Ye Li hadn't been in a relationship, too busy with work. Next to the training ground was a secret computer room. Ye Li and Skye stood before a rebuilt computer, neon lights flashing, totally cyberpunk. Ye Li cut a piece of the screen and asked, "How's it going? Did you check everything out?" Cough, cough. Skye cleared her throat, still raspy, and said, "This shield you're talking about, ahem, is seriously powerful. I could only hack external info. Any deeper, and they'd definitely catch me." Cough. She opened her lips slightly and spat into the trash can beside her. The substance was surprisingly white and thick. Maybe it wasn't just saliva. Ye Li kept working, unfazed. "If we get caught, we get caught. We've been on their radar for a while." Skye's fingers flew across the keyboard like she was playing a piano. "I couldn't get detailed intel, but I'm certain Barbara Morse's name is tied to that organization. Should we tell Jessica?" Ye Li, "Jessica can't keep a secret. Let's not spook her. We don't want to scare anyone off." Skye asked, surprised, "You're actually interested in someone with such a shady background?" "I just want to mess with her." As he said that, Ye Li received a message, "Speak of the devil, Jessica, bro, Ghost Spider's on her way. Get ready." Ye Li looked at Skye. "Did you clean up everything?" Skye's face flushed, and she hesitated. "Stop talking nonsense. There's nothing to clean up, everything's fine." She nudged the small trash can under the table with her foot, thinking, that shouldn't count. "Good." Ye Li nodded, relieved. "It would be awkward if Gwen caught them in the act." "Jessica, she's here. She's here. She's at the training ground. VP, get to the meeting." This girl's messages were like she was hopped up on caffeine. Ye Li sighed, used to Jessica's exclamation point obsession. He told Skye something and headed to the training ground. It was empty, not a soul in sight, but Ye Li could sense her. Someone was being a little mischievous up on the ceiling. A delicate hand wrapped in white fabric tapped his shoulder from behind. Ye Li turned to see a graceful figure sliding down on a web. This time, she wasn't wearing her mask. Her shoulder-length blonde hair cascaded down her back, her lips curved into a beautiful smile, and her eyes were sapphires. She deliberately appeared upside down. Gwen wanted to make sure Ye Li didn't think she was just cosplaying again. She wanted to see if he'd be surprised. Ye Li remained calm, not faking any shock. That would be too cheesy. He smiled slightly and whispered her name, Gwen. I've wanted to tell you, Li, because without you, Ghost Spider wouldn't be Ghost Spider. Gwen tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a bright smile on her face, as radiant as the first signs of spring. But you've known all along, haven't you? No need for more words. Everything was understood without being said. Intense feelings were like ethanol, the ultimate catalyst. Ye Li stepped closer and intertwined his fingers with her blonde hair. Gwen, The two were like Peter Parker and Mary Jane in Spider-Man 1, kissing upside down, but this time, the genders were reversed. So Gwen's Ghost Spider. Kinda saw that coming. Skye peeked through a crack in the computer room door, envious. It's so cool to have superpowers. Even their kisses are romantic. After a long, passionate kiss, they finally separated. Just when Skye thought it was over, she saw Gwen slide down a little further. Skye's eyes widened. No way, thump. She quickly slammed the door shut. Things were about to get rated R, not for kids, not for kids. So many gadgets. This is an upgraded web shooter and some other goodies. Ye Li handed Gwen the multifunctional web-slinging device. I think you could use it. My web shooters could definitely use some work. Gwen took it happily. Jessica mentioned it. I only told her about it. Ye Li didn't deny it. There was nothing to explain. You're calmer than I thought. Jessica slowly appeared from behind the training ground gate, her black hair flowing. She put her hands behind her back and said with a smile, okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about starting our superhero team. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. New York City sewers, a dark experiment was underway. Connors had assembled his human evolution device, loading it up with green chemicals. He wasn't fully a lizard man anymore, but green scales were still clearly visible on his face, and his pupils glowed light green. Peter, you shouldn't be here. Seeing Peter enter, Connors said, my plan will be implemented soon. Everyone will be like us. Help me. Peter's pale yellow, vertical pupils narrowed. Everyone would get this power. Even Thompson, who he'd just roughed up. He couldn't let that happen. The Green Goblin smashed through a glass window with his skateboard and sped off. Harry was pumped. He'd just taken out a board member who always had it in for him. The smell of blood fueled his desire for destruction. Looking down at the panicked pedestrians, Harry finally understood his father. He couldn't control his dark urges. He tossed down several pumpkin bombs. Alter Cathedral, New York. Thompson, fresh from confession, still felt lost and messed up. His school life was over because of the lizard men. He was a laughingstock. The football team kicked him off, making it clear they didn't want anyone associated with that kind of scandal. Even his old friends had abandoned him, and Leeds. Rumor had it she dropped out, too traumatized to leave the house. Worthless. Thompson muttered, his eyes suddenly bloodshot. It's Peter. It's gotta be Peter Parker. It's all his fault. Maybe it was because he only picked on the weak. Thompson was convinced he was right. He channeled all his resentment into the nerds he used to bully. He didn't realize the intense emotions he was radiating were attracting something in the shadows, a writhing black substance that slowly crept closer. A cool night breeze. On the roof of the Ghost Spider Club, 4 figures stood silhouetted against the city, gazing into the distance. Steven and I are hitting a car show tomorrow, so I need my beauty sleep. Ye Li said flatly, you better be careful, Jessica, or you'll get your butt kicked. Jessica covered her rear, then crouched down, urging Skye, hurry up, or I'm gonna get it. Skye, sitting cross-legged with her laptop, rolled her eyes. You can lift a car, why are you scared of getting a spanking from some normal dude? But she sped up her work, quickly pulling up police communications and city surveillance feeds. Gwen, already in her ghost spider suit, crouched down and looked at the screen, surprised. Skye, I didn't know you could do this. Awesome, right? Jessica said proudly, I found her first. With Skye, we'll have all the intel we need. Ye Li just rolled his eyes. It's true, something's happening in two places at once, but why? Gwen frowned at the surveillance footage. Two lizard men in one place. Looks like I was right. But what's the Green Goblin doing somewhere else? Jessica asked, puzzled, isn't Norman Osborn dead? Are there two Green Goblins running around? Ye Li said, Norman's tech probably came from Osborn Industries. More specifically, Harry, Jessica, what do we do? Gwen said, let's split up. I'll take care of the lizard men, and Jessica, you stop the Green Goblin from causing more chaos. Wait a sec. Something's happening at Osborn Group, too. Skye brought up another surveillance feed. The video showed a blue energy being, Electro, blasting out of the Osborn building. The uncontrolled energy bolts were electrocuting pedestrians, making him even more dangerous than the Green Goblin with his pumpkin bombs. Ye Li's expression turned serious. All this at once was a bit much. Seriously? Jessica's head was spinning. What do we do? I wish I could be in 3 places at once. Gwen turned to Ye Li. Li, what do you think? I think you should all go home to your mommies. I could take all the credit for myself. Instead, Ye Li analyzed the situation. Electro seems to be pure energy. Your powers won't work on him, so we'll put him on the back burner, best to take out the easier threats first. He suggested, deal with the slower lizard men, then go after the Green Goblin on his glider, and finally figure out a plan for Electro. My bro's right. We gotta prioritize, Gwen. Jessica agreed. It's too risky for you to face 2 lizards alone. I'll go with you first. Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But what about the others? Gwen couldn't stand it. The casualties are piling up. Easy, Gwen. Hey, Ye Li said, wrapping an arm around her shoulder, you guys aren't the only heroes out there. He glanced towards the Stark building. Yeah, Gwen, don't sweat it. We can't do everything, Jessica added, looking away. Just do what you can. Let's book it. The faster we move, the more people we can save. Okay, I'm with Li. Even though Gwen was compassionate, she trusted Ye Li's judgment. With their decision made, the 2 women took off. Before they left, Ye Li threw his hands up. So, what am I supposed to do here? You're in Command Central, Big Brother, Jessica called back, crouching slightly before leaping onto the roof of a nearby building. Later, Gwen playfully flicked the edge of her hood in a mock salute before shooting a web and following Jessica. Watching the 2 heroes disappear, Ye Li muttered, guess I'll hit the head. Skye, you're in charge of the club. If you're not sure about something, ask Barbara. Skye. Dozens of stories up, 2 massive green lizards were scaling a skyscraper at an impossible speed. One lugged a metal box on his back, its contents unknown. Their razor-sharp claws easily found purchase in the gaps between the floors, making the sheer vertical climb a breeze. Below, police lights flashed as squad cars arrived. However, the cops' standard-issue weapons were useless against the lizard men. They could only watch them ascend to the roof. One officer clutched his pistol tightly, leaning against a car. These pea shooters can't even scratch them. We're out of our league here. Stop whining. At least no one's gotten hurt here, a more timid officer said from behind the car. The other 2 sectors are reporting civilian casualties. What do you think they're doing, climbing all the way up there? Who knows, the first officer guessed, maybe they're going up to hook up and hatch a bunch of little lizards. He figured they might be a couple. Great, the officer behind the car groaned. That's just what we need. A swarm of lizard people. Turns out, the officer was half right. Connors did intend to create more lizard men, just not with Peter. They didn't exactly have the setup for that. Connors' device would release a lizard serum in mist form, turning more people into lizard creatures. Now, having reached the roof, he was already beginning the installation, but behind him, Peter's eyes narrowed with growing anger. He suddenly lunged, attacking Connors. Caught completely off guard, Connors was staggered by the sudden assault. That's when his troubles really started. Before he could react, Peter slammed him against the edge of the building. No. Peter. What are you doing? Connors' claws sparked against the concrete as he desperately tried to regain his footing, locked in a struggle with Peter. Sorry. Dr. Connors, Peter grunted, straining to hold him back. I can't let anyone else get this kind of power, especially Thompson. Their conflicting ideals had finally erupted. You. Peter, I never thought you'd be so small-minded. Connors spat. You're no different from the rest of them. They all want to stop me from ushering in the next stage of human evolution. A police drone approached the roof, filming the scene. Chief George said they were sending backup. This is backup. A drone? New York's a mess right now. The cops are stretched thin. Be grateful it's armed, Officer A said, watching the feed. Are they mating? Officer B, no, it's a fight. Officer A, you sure? They look pretty close. Officer B suggested, looks like they're fighting each other. This is a good opportunity to let the drone open fire. Wait, something else is coming. Peter tried to push Connors over the edge, but Connors, fueled by rage, dug in, muscles straining, pushing back with surprising strength. Just then, a dark figure leaped from another building, hurtling toward Peter. Peter Parker. It's you. Time to die. As Thompson landed, black liquid surged, covering his face, morphing into a grotesque visage. Whoa, who are you? Peter flicked out his tongue, recoiling in disgust at the sight of the new arrival, even weirder than him. Sharp mouth, sharp teeth, slender, white eyes, covered in black, slimy goop. Seriously nasty. I am Venom. Thompson's voice was now a low, gravelly growl, laced with madness. Peter Parker, today, you die. Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yeah. Peter spat the name out. He used to be scared of Venom, but not anymore. He twisted hard, flinging Connors, who was struggling with him, right into Venom's path. Bang, Venom backhanded Connors aside and lunged for Peter. They went at it, hammer and tongs, but Peter quickly realized Venom was stronger and faster. Unbelievable. No way. I can't lose to a monster like you, not with power like this. Peter refused to back down, slashing Venom's chest with his claws. But the 3 gashes healed almost instantly. Heh, aren't you a monster too? Venom snared Peter's retracting arm, twisted, and slammed him into the ground hard enough to crack the pavement. Within seconds, Peter was on the losing end, pinned by Venom, who was pounding the ground. Distracted by the fight, Peter had forgotten about Connors. Even though Connors was furious at Peter's sudden change of heart, he didn't have a choice. He had to focus on finishing the launcher. To him, that was all that mattered. Looks like a party. Jessica, finally beating Gwen, landed in a slide, kicking up dust. The soles of her shoes screeched. Seriously, my new shoes. She bounced, testing the wear. Shouldn't have ditched Gwen. Didn't even have time to stop. Jessica. Peter recognized her voice. He stretched out his green arm, grabbed Venom's neck, and forced its sharp-tongued mouth open as if he was going to kiss Jessica, and yelled, "Stop Connors. He wants to turn the whole city into lizards. You can't let that happen. Connors? Lizard City? That lizard is Dr. Connors. Is my brother telling the truth?" Jessica looked at Connors, then at Peter, still locked with Venom. "And how do you know me? What is going on? Too much, too fast." Jessica couldn't make sense of it. Was she supposed to trust this yellow-eyed lizard? And what was that black thing on top of the lizard man? Looked bad. Real bad. It's me, Peter. Peter gritted his teeth, revealing his identity. Peter Parker, your classmate. Stop Connors. Peter. Oh my God. Jessica instinctively covered her mouth, surprised even under her mask. Connors was a shock, but Peter, her classmate, was a lizard, too. Jessica, snap out of it. Stop Connors. Peter's telling the truth. Gwen, arriving just then, had overheard everything. She shot a web line to a nearby spire and swung toward Connors, suddenly. Connors, just finishing the launcher, heard a whoosh. He turned his head, and caught a spinning kick to the head. Gwen fired another web, swinging herself out of reach. Her agile movements, like a ballet dancer, kept her airborne. Connors, dazed, couldn't touch Gwen. Instead, he was getting wrapped in her webbing. Why is everyone stopping me? Connors roared, clawing at the webs, but Ye Li's improved spider silk slime was extra sticky. Even with Connors' strength, he couldn't break free easily. Nice one, Ghost Spider. Trash that device. Jessica seized the opportunity, running toward the launcher, slipping her finger tiger onto her hand. She swung. Clang! The launcher dented. Tough. Jessica shook her wrist, ready for another punch. Jessica, watch out. Gwen web swung down, warning, don't accidentally trigger it. She pulled a black stick from her belt and handed it to Jessica. Try this. Li gave it to me. Said not to hold it upside down. Don't hold it upside down. Heeding the warning, Jessica held the stick level and pressed a switch, *ZZZZZHT, *.1 and emitted a blue light, extending into a meter-long plasma blade with a faint hum. Is this? Jessica slid the finger tiger back into its strap, raised the glowing blade, and slashed at Connors's launcher. Like cutting butter, the launcher split in two with a crackle of sparks. Whoa! A real lightsaber. Jessica, recovering from her excitement, looked at Gwen, confused. Wait, where did you get this? Gwen tilted her head. Said a friend gave it to him.